So, I decided to make a video on some games you might have missed or some games you should revisit. There's a bunch of new games coming out, and I thought some of the old games shouldn't be forgotten. Without further ado, let's jump into it.
A man never eats for fun is never a whole man.
One of the best story games of all time, and the setting is absolutely gorgeous, and if you have the definitive edition, it's one of the best looking games to this day. The combat is extremely fun, and the combos and skills you unlock just make you feel like an utter badass. And if you're looking for a fun detective story where you actually get to investigate, do police things, and you get to say f you to the law, this one's for you. You play my boy, Wei Shen, an undercover cop and an ex-gang member infiltrating the very organization he once belonged to. Along the way, you get to meet some amazing characters, and you also get to see some really f***ed up shit. But hey, at least you get to obliterate some fools.
Chicken nugget.
And if you're feeling a little quirky, innocent bystanders. I never said you were a good cop. I just said you were one. The game takes some elements from GTA and some of the ones from Yakuza and creates a new and unforgettable experience. The game, from what I can see, is absolutely underrated, and I'm hoping in time it'll be discussed more, and for the love of God,
Compadre, no mames, compadre, se me está ahogando.
make a sequel.
Persona! Sensei, look out! It's huge! I'm done for.
You know, there was once a time where I wasn't the biggest fan of turn-based games, and man, I was missing out. But there's so much more to the gameplay than non-stop battles. This game is also a life sim. Like in real life, every day, you have a limited amount of time to get things done. It's up to you to choose what you dedicate your time to. In this world, for example, you can choose to hang out with people, build up your friendship and relationship. Eat alone in a diner to increase your skills, become a drama and music nerd. Get involved in sports so people stop bullying you for being a drama and music nerd. Read a book at home so no one knows you're a nerd. No, but seriously, there's so much to do in the game that it's by far one of the most replayable games I've ever seen. It has an endless amount of routes, dialogue choices, and side missions to choose from. And as the story develops, you get to uncover the mystery of a serial killer leaving bodies on antennas. Did I mention this game is dark? Persona 4 has one of the most interesting worlds and stories out there, and it's one of those games where you can just truly sit back, relaxed, while also being traumatized and learning things about yourself you never wanted to face. Good times. But no worries, you can drown all of that out with a killer soundtrack. That's good.
The mind-reading psycho thriller?
Oh, you must mean Ratatouille.
You cheated! No.
Psychonauts introduces you to the world of going into people's minds and seeing the things we hide within. And you get to smack things. This is a story-driven game with some of the best map designs and platforming. It also has some fun puzzles along the way and some of the most interesting and funny characters I've seen. So much so that I can't help but talk to them just to see what they or my character would say. You play as a psychic kid named Raz who's always dreamed of being a psychonaut. Basically, a spy who uses psychic abilities. He runs away from the circus, as one does, and sneaks his way into a summer camp full of the psychically gifted. Here the Psychodettes are trained on how to overcome their memories and what they fear most, while being able to learn a variety of psychic powers. You get to whoop ass with your mind. Since the game is based in the minds of odd characters, you know things can get wild, and at times, disturbing. There's a huge mystery to so many of the characters, especially the adults in the camp. Like this guy. He went to war, definitely saw some homies die,
I really miss my nigga.
and he has something deep hidden within his consciousness that I'm kind of afraid to find out about. Just a little bit. There's also this girl you might have seen from creepiest Easter egg videos, and all I'm gonna say is that there may be child murder in this game. All around, this game is a fun one to play through, especially if you're a fan of platformers, odd characters, beating the hell out of things, dreamlike worlds, and uncovering mysteries, especially the darker kind. Speaking of dark, the humor is just...
I would never do that. I could never kill everyone.
You going to class?
Yeah, I'll meet you up there. As soon as I get these guys to shut up.
If that doesn't get you to play, I don't know what will. Oh, there's also a sequel that came out in 2021, which is also worth checking out. This is one of those games I only saw big YouTubers play, and I never got my hands on. Until this year, when I purchased all its DLC and the sequel on Steam because it was on sale. Best decision I could have ever made. Both the games are very short, unfortunately, so I recommend buying the DLC to have even more to play and uncover. These games are not only absolutely terrifying, but look at some of these enemies. Like, what the fuck? And when you see the humans, you're gonna shit your pants. I know I did.
Alex.
He grabs his pants, we all leave the room.
And Angel, in the first game, the story is kept so vague, which I honestly think makes it more unsettling. Like, there's no dialogue and everything is told visually as you go on. Your character's kept so mysterious, but everything you do find out about her is batshit. You play as Six, a child with an ever-growing hunger who's tasked to complete a variety of different puzzles. Unlike the last games, this game is more about hiding and running away from enemies, and occasionally fighting using the environment and items around you. Oddly enough, I found this series to be extremely comforting. It has such a creepy and dark art style, yet there's so many tiny things that make it such a comfort play. Maybe it's the fact it's a linear game with a ton of collectibles and Easter eggs to be found, and not to mention the adorable little gnomes that you find throughout the game. I love these things, and they need to be protected at all costs. And I think the developers thought this too. That's why nothing bad ever happens to them. I promise.
This party's getting crazy. What? No chit-chat or monologue? Must pour blood and shed.
Welcome to one of the most outstanding franchises to date. Every single game is an absolute banger to the highest regard. Except for you. Fuck you. Hell, I'm even a fan of the DMC reboot. Yeah, I said it. I beat it. And I liked it. Dante is a Nephilim, a half demon and half angel hybrid, and a mighty fine one at that. In these hack and slash adventure games, you are a death dealing, gun blazing, sword wielding, punchline spitting, death defying, rocker, mercenary, demon hunter, and investigator. Is there nothing this man can't do? And he does it all in style. I bet you can't do that. I'm looking at you, Timmy. In some of the more recent games, you play as Nero and V. Nero is a badass in his own regard, and V is emo as fuck.
I am looking for an emo girlfriend.
Come meet me. I'm at.
But Dante steals the show, and he's our main man. I highly suggest starting off with Devil May Cry 1, working your way up to Devil May Cry 5, skipping number 2, because it's honestly not that important and it's pretty bad. Every single one of these games has the funnest combo system that makes you feel like a badass in every sense of the word. The set of weapons you get keeps the gameplay and the way you take down enemies fresh, and being able to change weapons on the whim makes it easy for you to pull off some insane moves.
Oh, that's the fucking raddest shit I ever seen!
The style is super gothic with a twist of an absurd, over-the-top action movie. It kind of reminds me of the anime and manga Hellsling. Characters even look a bit similar. They both use sweet-ass guns to take down gothic creatures, and they're both rocking the red look. The games are jam-packed with beautifully designed enemy types and bosses that'll make your nipples sweat. Whatever the hell that means. The world building for these games are nut busting, and here's a little bit of a plot summary to get you interested. Dante's on a mission to avenge his dead mother and find her killer. During this process, he must go against his brother, Virgil, one of the main antagonists of the games, alongside mysterious and earth-shattering villains. Dante also runs a business where people can hire him to kill demons. What does he call this business? You guessed it, Devil May Cry. There's so much to the story that I can't give it justice in just a couple sentences. Just know there's a whole war against the underworld and the human world, and things just get insane. Oh yeah, and there's this.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light.
That's how I like to make an entrance.
What have you been up to?
What's this? Let us never speak of this again.
This is a game I heard no one talk about. A game that I have vivid childhood memories of. And man, I need to tell you about it. Death Jr. is a platformer game with a dark sense of humor.
Pretty sure I fell in the hole.
Whoa. Oh my god!
You play as the Grim Reaper's son. Yes, Death himself is your dad. Now that's metal. I've always been a fan of Halloween and horror aesthetic, and these games are jam-packed full with them. I'm also a sucker for hack and slash games, and Death Jr. fills my need perfectly. It also has a variety of different weapons, enemies, and baller-ass platforming segments, just like Psychonauts. Like most of the games mentioned, the characters are phenomenal and filled with some odd-ass people. And man, I love oddballs. Man, I love balls.
Hey out there, this is Tokyo's very own #1 pirate power station, Red Set Radio!
I don't know if you've seen the new Power Surge Sega video, the trailer, but it is the best fucking thing I've ever seen. I've been dreaming of a day where we get a new Jet Set Radio game. And the day has come. I honestly thought they just abandoned it for eternity, but it's confirmed. It's coming, and the development footage looks too good to be true. From what we've seen, it looks like a brand new game, and not a remake. I mean, either way, I'm hyped. Go play the original games. They are some of the most stylized and unique games to exist. I adore the fast gameplay, racing around cities, the retro look of everything, the amazing groove and style the characters have, and the outstanding soundtrack that I can never get tired of.
I ain't a winner. Pay the front line, take the don'ts. He's coming like this, like that.
I can hear them all say.
This game single-handedly made me want to buy roller skates and learn how to use them. Music and rollerblades were just made for each other, I swear. And dude, graffiti art has never looked so good. And I just love the concept of using spray cans to fight police artistically and physically. And for those of you who have played the Jet Set Radio series, I highly recommend Bomb Rush, Cyberfunk. It is just straight up a love letter to Jet Set Radio, and they even have the original composer, which just elevates the series to just a whole nother level. Let's be real. You already heard of Cyberfunk Bomb Rush if you play Jet Set Radio. How could you not? Anyways, I'm super hyped for more Jet Set Radio, and I highly recommend revisiting the franchise. And if you don't,
I think you're a fat.
What's shaking?
What a crowd. Anybody there? Destroy all humans.
not sure if you heard, but this game is fucking awesome. So awesome, in fact, that it got both games remastered, and they look fantastic. I remember playing the originals for hours upon hours, especially the second one, since it introduced a co-op mode. These games are so much fun to be had, and the guns are just the goofiest shit I've ever seen. And it makes destroying towns and innocents a little too fun, you know?
They don't make movies about heroes like me.
Because duh, you're the villain, bro.
You basically play villains in these games, and your goal is to destroy all humans and steal the reproductive, properties because your species can't do that naturally. You play a clone, and the amount of times this clone has died is anyone's guess at this point. The dialogue and quests are a crazy mess of fun. I mean, in one mission, you get to use this like hologram thing to mimic a mayor who blames all the strange events in town on communism.
Communism, that's right.
You finally get to live out your alien fantasy. I mean, abduct cows and humans. You get to destroy cities with a UFO. You get to take down the Russian government as one does. Pro people. Now that's hot. Overall, this is one of those games you can just turn off your brain and cause chaos in every corner you can. It even has the voice actor for Invader Zim. And of course, he plays an alien.
Crypto!
What?
If I'd have known you were going to behave like this, I would have rung the humans up ahead of time. Hi, how's the family? Everything's super here. We'll most likely be by to invade you in the morning. Brains, Crypto! Try to be discreet!
Curse you, pathetic humans!
If you're a big fan of BioShock, then you're gonna love this game. It's BioShock, but in space. It's high-key a horror game. It's constantly messing with your head and making you question what's even real.
Man, I don't know what to think no more, man. Okay.
And I'm not just talking about the mimics. You know, creatures that disguise themselves as little objects and stuff like that.
Can you eat pussy like that?
The story just messes with your head as you slowly discover what the hell is even going on and what kind of tests have been conducted here. There's a ton of cool lore and a bunch of plot twists to keep you on your toes.
That bitch is dead!
And the DLC is also quite fun. It's basically one of those wave survival type games on the moon. And if you have the extra funds, I highly recommend getting it.
Mom, can you give me some money, please? Stop fucking around.
What kind of uncivilized country is this? How will you ever learn how to pleasure each other unless you talk about it? Up sex. What? You fat whore.
Okay, I personally haven't played much of this game, but it's one of my best friends and brother's favorite games, so I thought I'd mention it. If you're looking for something somewhat similar to the world of Baldur's Gate, then I highly recommend you visit this game. From what I played, the lore seems to run deep. You're also given a ton of freedom in dialogue choices, which can affect the game.
Write that down, write that down!
And you know, I love that. The combat was something I had to get used to at first, but it quickly became something I had a blast with. This is also one of those games where you get to choose what kind of character and class you want to become. Yet another game that allows you to be an asshole. The game seems rich in missions, areas you want to explore, customizations, and characters you so desperately wanted to be mean to on your evil Let's Play, but you couldn't do it because you liked them so much. Looking at you, random guy from my school. Love you.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
If I find out that you have X-ray vision, you're dead.
Cortana, you take dictation?
Okay, this one's gonna be super brief, because who the hell hasn't heard of Halo at this point? I mean, you're a soldier dude from the future who kills aliens and things. This is a story worth checking out for those who haven't played it, and even if you have played it, I recommend buying the Steam version because there's now a workshop, which you can play a bunch of mods, custom maps, and there's
Mario Kart.
Another loser.
Drop dead.
I'm a love machine and I'm ready to plow the field of ecstasy. Oh yeah.
With the upcoming Fable 4 announced, I thought this was a perfect time to mention this series. My brother and I grew up playing these games, I'll admit, him more than I. But what I have played and seen of the game is an absolute delight.
By way of divorce, Ralph exercised his axe on her head. This he did mount up on the wall, just over the bed. So did the woman sadly become the world's first trophy wife.
It's an extremely stylized world with crude humor and mechanics that make the world feel alive. And if you have a friend to join you, Fable 2 and Number 3 are the best co-op games to play. Fable 2 is more like a little add-on. The second player doesn't really level up, they're just there for the adventure, you know? But Fable 3, that's where you actually get to play the story together fully, and y'all can even get bitches, get married, have kids, pay child support because she divorced you and took the kids because you want to stop dressing like a chicken. There's even a lot of neat features like making relationships with NPCs who can give you side quests and discounts in their shop.
I'm broke! And you got the power to change that, Kev!
Owning your own house, having a dog who can find you items you can pet at any time. I mean, any game that has an interactable dog makes a game banger. These games in short are action adventures with an overarching story and tons of magic and weaponry to murder fools with. And overall, they're just great worlds to immerse yourself in. I can have sex with a woman! Yes!
Few tales are told of Hades, whose very name inspires fear and penitence, reminding us of the inevitable fate which we all share.
I haven't played many roguelike games, but Hades takes you on one hell of an adventure with this genre. While playing, you get to learn a bunch about mythology, the gods, and the characters that inhabit it. Funny enough, you don't actually play as Hades, you play his son, Zagreus, an immortal on a quest to escape the underworld, blessed by the gods of Olympus. They accompany your journey in this dungeon crawler adventure. Dying is a main component of this game, it's unavoidable really.
Every day I die!
It's actually kind of like a main story element, so sometimes you kind of want to die to see some extra dialogue.
Oh no! I'm fucking dying, Mr. Squidward!
Filled with a vast story and a beautiful art style that makes you feel like you're walking in an art book. This game is so fast-paced and allows you to play in your own way, to grind through as many levels and worlds as you can. So many interesting settings and characters to see, and it's something you just have to try for yourself. Especially now that the second game's in development, something I'm super excited for. I'm too lazy to come up with a joke here, so here's this. Here's a series that you can just f around with and have a great time. It's all about catching apes who are trying to take over the world. There's a lot of time travel, there's a lot of smart monkeys. What more can I say? It's from my childhood and I used to play it at my tio's house because it took me so long to own a PlayStation. Go experience what I never could. And catch some apes for me.
Can you speak English?
I remember going over to my cousin's house just to experience Sims 2 on the PlayStation 2. He let me in on secrets like if you look through a telescope for a while, aliens would abduct you and make you pregnant. And ever since that, I was sold on the series. And just like me, my child will never know his other father. He has so much in common already. Out of all the Sims games, I've only really ever enjoyed Sims 2 and 3. I played 4, but let's be real. That game has $1,000 worth of DLC that I am never gonna pay for. Shit that should already be in the base game, but is not. Fuck you EA, and fuck you Sims 4. And since I'm poor, I mainly stuck with Sims 2 because it's so good. As for Sims 3, I will admit, I did buy some DLC. Just because it was super ambitious, actually added a ton of features, and changed up the gameplay completely. It was worth it. While Sims 3 had the best additional content, I think Sims 2 was my favorite since it had an amazing story mode. You could actually walk around with a controller, and it actually had split screen. I love me some split screen. Overall, these two are just an utter blast, and like I said before, fuck EA, fuck Sims 4.
Vader is a friend of mine. Vader is my friend. Vader is a friend of mine. I have a friend in Vader. Vader is a
game's not canon, it has one of the best stories I've ever seen in a Star Wars game. Plus, it has one of the coolest characters ever, Starkiller. That's even a cool name. I recently repurchased the games on Steam because there's a sale, and I gotta say, the first game has a metric ton of additional content included in the Ultimate Sith Edition. Look how many costumes there are. I can play as Anakin, that guy, C-3PO, fucking Count Dooku, that guy, a clone trooper, Luke Skywalker. Oh, and that guy. That guy was cool. These games are just an utter blast. I love the ragdoll physics of just blasting fools with the Force or simply throwing them off the cliff into oblivion, to the amazing set of combos and skills you unlock by leveling up. So if you want to feel like a god, indulge yourself in this series.
Harder, Daddy.
Should I mine or should I craft? It's always mine.
I think by this point, you've all heard that Far Cry 3 is the best game and that Voss is the best villain and baddie. Voss.
You're such a fucking daddy.
Did you want me to slice you open like I did your friend?
But I think a game worth playing is Far Cry 4. This game also included an amazing world to explore and story, and Pagan Min is a really good follow-up to Voss. He's an absolute blast to see on screen and an utter psycho, and I'm loving it. Pagan Min can do no wrong. If you're looking for a fun first-person shooter with a beautiful landscape to explore, I think this is the one for you. I wish Pagan can stab me a little. Alan Wake, the game I always wanted to play as a kid, but only had the chance to play the demo.
Why?
Over and over again. And then, I got the American Nightmare demo. And I played that over and over again. It wasn't until recently when I noticed it was on sale, so I purchased the remastered version and its DLC. It was a mighty fine decision, if I may say so myself. From what I played, this is a very story-driven game with a huge mystery element in the mix. I'm also quite a big fan of the mechanics introduced in the game, especially the flashlight features where you can use it to make enemies vulnerable to your attacks. Meaning you can't actually hurt an enemy until you flash a f***ing bright light in his goddamn eyes. And healing under lights is a pretty cool concept to me. This game can honestly make you jump out of your seat a bit, and the setting for the game makes you feel alone even when you're surrounded by others. And the dreamlike sequences, they make you feel a little uneasy. I love the whole writer aspect to the character, and the fact that some of his characters that he's written are actually becoming a part of the story. It honestly makes you question if what you're even experiencing is a part of a dream, something he's writing, or actually happening. I'm also a big fan of the collectibles, and this game has a ton. Like pages of a story that when found can be narrated by Alan Wake. Nice little audiobook action we get there. I can't think of anything funny to say about this one. Like the title of this game says, this game involves a legend, and a brutal one at that. Jack motherfucking Black. One of my favorite actors, musician, and a person on this earth. Actually, I take that back. He is my favorite for all of those. This game is wild. You play as Eddie Riggs, the best roadie in the world, for the worst band in the world. Long story short, he bleeds onto his belt that just happens to be this f***ing amulet owned by the Destroyer Worlds, whatever the hell this name is. That dude then transports our boy, Eddie Riggs, aka Jack Black, to a whole new world. A world inspired by metal and Nordic fantasy.
Back into history.
And what a cool world it is. I honestly had no idea what kind of game this would be, but what it is a masterpiece. It's not only a hack and slash game, it's also a real-time strategy game where you get to command an army, fight alongside them, and rock out while doing it. It allows you to explore the world around you in this sweet ass ride. This game is just something you have to experience yourself, and Jack Black obviously steals the show. Oh, and there's Ozzy Osbourne who customizes your car, because why the hell not?
Well, it's about time. Not bad. Looks like you figured out the instructions okay. You've got some demon flesh on your bumper.
Jablinski, I love you for this, man. Now please, make us a sequel, por favor. Even my dog's crying, because she wants a sequel. Sequel, 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 sequel. I love you so. Whoa. Alright, that's honestly all the time I have for today. It is 6 a.m. I haven't slept. We're gonna call it here tonight, right, Angel? Thank you for watching. Do the subscribe thing, do the like thing, and I'll do something else. Comment below if you want more videos like this, or whatever games you played before. And that's about it. See ya.